Hi, I'm Carly. This is Bookish Pixie Reads. Thank you for joining me today. So we are fastly approaching Christmas, and we've just passed Hanukkah, I believe, and it's like the gift-giving season of December. And I know I'm a little late, but I'm here with like some last-minute gift ideas, if anybody needs bookish gift ideas. So my first one of my best friends made these for me a couple years ago. Not this particular one, but she made me these origami like bookmarks, these corner kind of bookmarks. And they're super handy because unlike a stick one, if you come back to it a couple months later, which page are you on? First world problems, but which page? But you actually slip it on which page, so then you know which page you're on, and they don't take up so much space. And she made me these, and if you use origami paper, they're a little flatter. I made some too. I was hoping to do a video last year, and I forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but I just didn't do it. But I made a couple of samplers out of scrapbooking paper, and it's a bit thicker. But these are cool. You can get some scrapbooking paper. I'm not sure how much origami paper costs, but scrapbooking paper, you can get like 4 for $1. You can get, you can get them pretty cheap, and you can make, I think, at least 4 out of them, out of one. And so you can get like a bunch of stocking stuffers or like coworker presents. And I will put in the description a YouTube video that I used to make these. It's super easy. You just need like a ruler and some scissors and your hands. And these are pretty easy to make as gifts. And I think they're really handy to have a little stash. Cat. So I think these are like a really handy thing to have around. I really liked having them. I really like them as bookmarks. I mean, it's a bookmark, but it's not life-changing, but it's a bookmark, and they're really nice, and it was a nice gift. So if you're looking for something that's kind of on the cheaper end, or a little more handmade, a little more last minute, I think these are great. And I did mean for my actual first thing. My actual first thing is more, my first couple of things are notes about life. Ask them if they have a list. Go off the list. And get gift receipts. Gift receipts, everything physical that you can gift receipt. I just know, like, the idea of giving someone, even if they're a book person, and they're your best friend, and everything y'all like is similar. My best friend and I, we like so many of the same things. Our book correlations are absolutely the opposite. She'll recommend something to me that she loved, I hate it. Or I'll see on Goodreads something that I read, and I was like, oh my god, that was the worst thing. And she 5 stars it. It's like, I know, like, we probably should not gift each other books. You know what I mean? Hey. And also I would say, I don't love seeing posts about like, oh, I wish my son, my cousin, my grandpa, my dad, my mom, whoever, I made that really masculine, my aunt, my niece, I wish they were a reader. What can I recommend to them that they would love to read? If they're not a reader, they're not going to be a reader, and whatever book you give them isn't going to make them be a reader. I kind of, at least that's my personal opinion on it. I think you give them a book and they're going to be like, oh, a book, I didn't want this, and now it's just going to sit and collect dust, and they're probably never going to read it. I think you kind of have to come into reading on your own, and for some reason that makes you want to read. If they don't want to read, giving them a book's not going to make them want to read, no matter how good you tell them it is. My mother keeps trying to get me to read Where the Crawdad Sings, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm just not. Leave me alone. And if she gives it to me, I'm still not reading it. So it's like, and I mean, I don't think she is. But I mean, that's just like, even though I am a book person, I have a booktube. I'm not reading a book I'm not going to read. And I don't think it's any better if you're gifting books to people who don't like reading, you know what I mean? But still, gift receipt everything. Because if they don't like it, they can go get a puzzle at the bookstore or whatever. I will say a little bit of an aside on that is joke books. Gift books are a little bit, if you're not a big, book person, but they like TV shows, a book about a TV show. That's a lot of photos and a lot of more just factoids. It's not like an in-depth thing. Something that's light and floof, or even just like a humor book, like a, toilet humor book or something of that nature. Somebody might appreciate more than even fluffy literature. That might be, if you still want to get them a book, but that they might more appreciate, something like that on that end. But so then after those 2 notes, origami bookmarks, I think, are fun on the cheap, like on the inexpensive end if you're on a budget. I also think on a budget, well, this actually has a scale. On Etsy, I'm sure other places too, but I know of on Etsy, you can get digital book journals. You can get printables. So like if you're really on a budget, or if your person's more of a physical, they don't like have iPads, or, you know, they're more of an analog type person, you can get some printables, download some printables, send them to your local copy place, and print them out, and give them, like, you can maybe like bind them a book journal or something like that, where they can keep notes on the books that they've read. But they also have digital book journals, and some are relatively inexpensive, and they're a little more on the basic end. And if you have like an iPad with the Good Notes app or a few other apps, and they're super cool, where you can hyperlink, like, oh, I read Mr. Spears and Styles, and if I click on Agatha Christie's name on this page, it'll bring me to all the books I read by her this year. You know, they have the challenges, if you're doing the Pop Sugar Challenge or the 52 Book a Year Challenge, you know, whatever. Some of them really go the expanse, and those are a little more expensive. That's on my maybe gift to myself, depending on the budget, by the end of the year for next year, because I've been really wanting one. But I think those are really, really cool. But so I'll put a link to a few of those also in the description below. I would also say, don't buy off the bestseller list, unless it's on the list. If they give you a list and it's on that list, get it. That's what they want. But if you're just like, I want to get my bookish friend a book, don't get off the bestseller list. If she wants it, she already has it, or she would have asked for it. And there's a decent chance she knows about it and doesn't want to read it. I personally, on a personal level, and I know this is all me on a personal level, but go backlist. Maybe ask one of the bookstore people, employees, if they have a backlist recommendation, something they've loved that went really unnoticed. Because for me personally, all the books that are super hyped always are really underwhelming. And I love like a backlist surprise. Like, I would suggest going backlist, doing something like that. Also, what I have found as a delight, just of my life in general, and I think this could be so much fun as gift giving, if you have a used bookstore in your neighborhood or in your town, or like a thrift store, or a new and used, my local library has a couple book sales a year, or have like a continuing, like one of my libraries has almost like a gift shop, and it's just they constantly are selling used books out of it, and it raises money for the library system. Because I realize we're a week out, you're limited on what sales are going to be available. But used bookstores, if they're open, you know what I mean? And you never know what you're going to find in there, and it's always like a treasure hunt, and you can get really good deals. You can just get something really quirky. Sometimes things are fine. You can get things that are, I mean, there are some things that are more expensive, but like, God, you can find the spectrum of things in there. And I'm going to show you some examples that I have that I've gotten from used bookstores and book sales and things that I was just like, oh, this would be so much fun. I got them all for myself, but they would be fun to give to people. This first one, so I'm a fan of the show Happy Days, and I'm a big Henry Winkler fan. I got this for like $1.50 at this book sale that benefited the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra, and it's a novelization. Apparently it was a series, but a novelization of Happy Days. I think it's a made-up. I don't think it's an actual episode. I mean, it might be. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched. And I've started reading it, and it's kind of terrible, but I also kind of love that I have it. Like, it's so much fun. And it's such a weird little, like, quirky stocking stuffer thing. That somebody will be like, oh, wow, that's really funny. It's a great, you know, conversation started upon your coffee table, so forth, so on. I think I also got this at the same book sale, but, How to Live with a Neurotic Dog. And I got this for $1. This was from, like, 1960. And it's a really, like, a humorous book, Training the Neurotic Dog. And it's got really fun illustrations. And so if you have somebody who has a dog, and they always joke about, like, their dog being, you know, weird and having issues, like, this could be just, like, a fun thing. Like, if you were to find something like this, I know you're not going to find this book, but, like, as an example, in New Orleans, if you're ever in New Orleans, go to Blue Cypress Books. They are amazing. They're new and used. I love it there. You never know what you're going to find. they always have the latest and greatest, but then you always have like deep dive on the bookshelves. And I saw this, and I kind of was obsessed. I thought about it because it was like $30, which is like a little more than I was not going there for this, more than I wanted to spend. And then I was obsessed with this so much, I went back. No, that was a different book. But this one I got right away. But I think this one was like $30. No, this one was 10. There was another one that was $30. It was like a housekeeping book from the 1930s. And it's big and chunky and like tips of how to like illnesses and cure-alls and whatever. I forgot to bring that one in here, but I think it's propping up Christmas decorations. But I have this one I got recently, the original White House cookbook, the 1887 edition. And this is a reprint. This is not from 1887. This would not have been $10. But for $10, how cool is this? And it's got like recipes and here's all the cuts of meat, and their recipes are so weird because they don't give you like an ingredient list. It's just sort of a thing, and I would go through it and I was like, what? I don't think I could even like remake some of these because some of the ingredients don't make, like the instructions don't make sense. But they have like your table setting list and snacks and things, and I think they also have like housekeeping in regards to health. Here are like little quick cure-alls, and here's some medicinal foods, and here's some eye washes if your eye's bothering you. And I was like, this is so funny. I have it on my side table in my living room. I'm never going to sit and read every word of this, but it's so much fun to flip through. I think anyone who loves something quirky and weird would maybe love this. Or things like this. And again, like, I'm not saying go get this. I'm just saying, like, go through your old bookstore. Go through, if someone's doing a book sale, you never know what you can find. It could be amazing. Mention, like, gift books, like, that are a little more, like, not literary as such. And this, my first one that I want to talk about, this came out a couple years ago, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. And this would be, I would give this to a person who does love books, and who loves mystery books in particular, or if they don't love books, but loves mystery shows. Midsummer Murder, a lot of the British village countryside TV shows that are all on BritBox, or wherever they are now. But this book called Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered, Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village, and by Maureen Johnson and Jay Cooper. And I very specifically loved this. I got this a year and a half ago, and the illustrations are really cute. They're very like black and white and a little bit of red because murder. But they're all like, like, if there's a village fete, don't go to the village fete. Somebody's going to die at the village fete. But don't not go to the village fete, because whoever doesn't go to the village fete might also die at the village fete. It's so playing with the tropes of kind of golden age mystery novels, the English countryside mystery stories, and I thought this was such a delight. I loved it. I bought it for one of my friends for Christmas, and I know she loved it as well, and I love this. So, like, I think anyone who's, like, a big mystery fan would get a kick out of this. And I have a couple of arcs that I read this year that I think would also be, and I'm, like, legitimately feelings on my own. Like, I'm not saying it because I'm not afraid, e-arc, I'm going to get, like, a physical copy, but I'm not trying to be sassy. It's just, like, thoughts on my own. There's this book called One Star Wonders, The Worst Review of the World's Greatest Places by Mike Lowry. And it is very light on the reading. It's heavily illustrated, and and this would be great for, like, a traveler. If you have a world traveler friend, or a friend who wants to go traveling, that sort of thing. This guy has this illustrations where he kind of explains in the beginning, probably the wordiest part of the book is his little introduction, and he talks about that when he plans a trip, he gets obsessed going over review websites and trying to figure out, like, what places are the most worthwhile to go to, and blah, blah, blah. And he went down a rabbit hole of starting to look at the one-star reviews. And many of them are ridiculous, and for the reasons of why they're one-star reviews. And so he just basically compiled one-star reviews for about 80-something different locations around the world, several in the United States, Europe, I think like all the continents. I think he hit everybody, everywhere. But it's be like, the mountain in Kyoto? I can't remember, but, or the Taj Mahal, 1 star, the Wi-Fi was bad, you know, and things like that, where it's like, what? Like, that's why you gave this 1 star? And he said something like, some people didn't understand the star rating system, like, 1 star, this place was amazing, and like, wait, you did not understand the scale, but the illustrations are lovely, it's really funny, it's a breezy, quick through, so you have someone who loves traveling, but maybe doesn't want to read a book, that one's really funny. I highly recommend it. And I also read something called Behind the Scenes, but no. Behind the Screens, illustrated floor plans and scenes from the best TV shows of all time. It's by, I'm not going to pronounce their name right, because it's Iñaki Alista Lizraalde. I'll put all the information in the bottom, and I'll maybe put a little thing here so you'll see how to spelling it. But also, it's very light on the literary, heavier than the travel book. But basically, this person, Iñaki, I think over COVID, or maybe just as a hobby, they have an Instagram account where they would watch sitcoms or any TV shows set in a very specific, like, place, a physical place, like a house or an apartment, a police station, whatever, and would draw up blueprints of these sets. And so, like, the cover is the Friends set, and it's good fun, and they say because it's, you know, sitcoms generally, especially studio audience sitcoms, you're missing a wall. You get 3 sides, sort of, but you're missing, like, that 4th wall. So the 4th wall is sort of, they had to, like, figure out, like, what would be best. Apparently the Golden Girls house has never made sense. I didn't know this, I don't really watch Golden Girls, but the house apparently doesn't make sense. The house, like, where things were is constantly changed, so she kind of had to pick one. I really wish they did the Dick Van Dyke house, because the Dick Van Dyke house doesn't seem to make sense when you watch the show, but they didn't do that one. But, like, you get Schitt's Creek, I mean, you get, like, all your super Golden Girls, Friends, I think there was The Office in there, some really, like, popular pop culture ones, but then you get a little more, and you get Schitt's Creek. They did the whole town of Stars Hollow for Gilmore Girls. You got, I think, their actual house. And they also do, like, a picture of the front of the house, where, and they'll be like, oh, the house doesn't match. Like, apparently, the front of the Brady Bunch house is impossible to match the inside of the Brady Bunch house. And so, like, oh, that's interesting, that's cool. You get all the Stars Hollow, Gilmore Girls. You get some older shows. They did Magnum P.I., which I never even really paid attention to Magnum P.I., and now I kind of want to watch it just from this little description of what this was. I was so pleased that Kim's Convenience, which is this Canadian sitcom that I love, is in there. But it's good fun. So if you have, like, a person who, like, is a compulsive TV watcher or a sitcom watcher or whatever, I think this would be really good for them. I also gave this 5 stars. It's fun. And that sort of thing. So I'm going to get into, my genre of choice is mystery, so that's what I can speak on the most. So I'm not going to, like, get into literary fiction and blah, blah, blah. But I had mentioned, so mysteries. Mysteries is my genre. And I was like, oh, go backlist. So I recently, over the last year and a half or so, discovered the British Library Crime Classics Collection. The British Library Crimes Classic Collection. And you can get it off of their website. I will link everything below. But you can also get this stuff off Amazon. You can get this stuff off of Bookshop, Barnes & Noble. Generally, there's some, like, because I think it's published in the UK first, and then they get published here, so some of the more recent ones, there might be a delay, but there's like 100-something of these, and most of them you can get now from any of your bookstores of your choice. But what they're doing is that they are republishing Golden Age crime classics, murder mystery crime classics from the Golden Age, from, like, the 1930s to the 1960s, that period, and authors that have sort of were very popular in their heyday, but have fallen out of fashion since. So you're not going to get your Agatha Christie. You're not getting, you know, the people that have hung on. The people that we still know and are very popular. You're getting Christiana Brand. I actually made a checklist because I have a goal to maybe kind of like through time, not like in the next year, but over a span of time, reading all of them. But Anthony Gilbert, Christiana Brand, I said, John Dixon Carr. I know a lot of his stuff's getting republished from other publishers as well. And I'm not going to go through all the names because you probably won't know them because I didn't know them and because they've fallen out of favor in the past, and that's really sad. But like I just read the one I'm going to recommend to you because I've read a couple, and of course, like all books, some are better than others, blah, 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 but I think it's really cool, like, it's almost like a reintroduction to authors that maybe you might love, and that we would know about, because a lot of their work's out of print, and they are not publishing in order. Like, these people have 24 in a series, they're republishing number 8, because maybe it was a good, locked room murder, or maybe it was very good for this specific reason. And a lot of these, this one that I'm going to recommend, I loved, and I think it was like number 8 in the series, or number 12 in the series, and I was like, oh, I want to go read the others in the series. Can't find them. Like, my personal library doesn't have them. And I have access to two library systems. They have none. I went through Abe Books, eBay, the other one, Thrift Books, looking for the first. This author wrote under 2 pen names. I was trying to find the first and both of the series that she wrote. Can't find them anywhere. The eBay, Thrift Books, Abe Books, they have other ones in the series, but if I wanted the first one, can't get it. Don't know how to get it. Meh. So it's like, yeah, you're kind of jumping in the middle of a series, but also what are you going to do when you can't find the rest of the books? But the book I'm recommending is Crossed Skis. It's by Carol Karnak. She also wrote under the name E.C.R. Lorak. Lorak, spelled backwards, is Carol. But it was this murder mystery. It's set in 1952, end of 1952, 53, something like that. But it begins on like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and it's this ski party who is going. They all live in London, and it's really what I kind of love about these two is that you're getting bits of history. It's not historical fiction; it's present day fiction from when it was written, and so kind of you're getting. They're still rationing. It's post World War II, but they're still rationing, and life kind of and dreary, and so they're going to take a vacation. This group of friends who are loosely connected to each other. Some know each other more than others. Some got invited through friends. So some people don't even really know people. It's a group of 12 men and women, none of which are familially related, are going to go to Austria on a ski trip. And at the same time, someone completely unrelated is found murdered in a house fire. And there's one clue at this house that makes the detective think this could be a ski thing. And so then they start trying to track down, like, a skier. And then is it connected to the ski trip? And you're getting this back and forth story. And as a reader, we're like, well, it's got to be something on the ski trip, right? But, like, who do we trust on this ski trip? And and then, will he get there? And will something happen? Will they murder again? And because we don't really know why in the murder. Loved it. Obsessed with it. Now I want to read everything this author has written. And maybe I just got the best one. I don't know. But I doubt it. It was so good. And I was just like, I'm recommending this to everyone. It was so good as a mystery. It was clever. The characters were great. Yeah. So, but they also, in this collection of the British Library Crime Classics, I read this as an ARC last year and I loved it. It's on my wish list for Amazon. They do short story collections. And they theme them by kind of topic. And the one that I had gotten the ARC for was Murder by the Book, Mysteries for Bibliophiles. And the editor for them is Martin Edwards. He always edits all of them. And he does look at, what's nice is there's an introduction, but maybe it's only 3 or 4 pages. It's not a 60-page introduction that I can't stand. but he'll be like, oh, we brought together these authors, and you may know them from book, blah, blah, blah. But these are short stories that you're never going to find because they were probably published in, like, dime detective magazines that, how are you going to find these short stories again? But so the one I had read was Murder by the Book Mysteries for Bibliophiles. All the cases were wrapped around either, like, stolen books or murdered authors, or the clue was in a book, you know, so forth and so on. And a book sell, you know, it's all very book themed and author themed, and I loved it. I loved it. Like, I think there was one story I was kind of on, but like almost every story was so great, and it introduced me to so many authors I wasn't aware of. And they have so many, so you could kind of theme them to maybe your person's interest. There's a few different Christmas themed ones or winter themed ones, like Silent Nights, Christmas Mysteries, Crimson Snow, Winter Mysteries. There's police stories, The Long Arm of the Law. They have like countryside ones and theatrical ones, Final Acts, theatrical mysteries. Deep Waters, Murders on the Waves. So it's all, you know, ocean or boat related, or, you know, something like that. There's an animal one, Guilty Creatures, a menagerie of mysteries. Sporting ones, Settling Scores. Sporting mysteries, countryside ones, manor ones. There's a few different ones. And if you're on Goodreads, I think there's like a list. Maybe I'll see if I can find it. There's somebody's compiled a list of all of them, of just all of them in general. You could skim through them all, see if there's any that strike your fancy. I mean, like of the whole collection, not just the short stories. Also, I'll put the British Library Crime Classics, but like I also think that's a great, like if you have a mystery fan writer or a mystery reader fan. These are sort of more obscure, especially in America. Like my library mostly has these through Hoopla. I think they have a few physical copies in the store, but I don't in the store and like on the shelves, but I don't know if a ton of people know about these. And so I think this is a really cool gift. The covers are beautiful. They're paperback, but it's a nice quality paperback. They feel a little sturdier. So I think those are good gifts. And then the last thing I really want to mention, so like if your person's a cozy mystery fan, I personally have love-hate relationships with cozy mysteries, but a lot of people are like super diehard. They read all of them. That's all they read, and that's totally fine. And there's so many, and so I don't know how to tell you, like, this is the one to go get or whatever, but what I was going to suggest is making, like, a gift basket out of it, or making it, like, not necessarily a basket, but if you don't want to, because if you're looking to spend more than the $8, $9 the book is, you can pair it up with something. So a lot of cozy mystery, like, especially the modern day, last 20 years, 30 years or so, I'm not talking about Agatha Christie, I'm not talking about the British Library Crime Classics, because some of those could be deemed, I guess, cozies, if we're talking about Agatha Christie as cozy. I'm talking about the ones that are, like, niche to a thing. The lighthouse ones, the coffee house ones, the tea house ones, the grilled cheese ones, like, where they pick a thing, and there's always a murder related to whatever shop they own, or whatever. And so, like, these are just a couple that I have in my house. I have a few of the, A Coffee House Mystery by Cleo Coyle. And, like, if you were to get maybe one or two of these and put it in a basket of, like, coffee-related things. Get a coffee cup or a gift card to their favorite coffee house, Starbucks, PJ's Coffee out in New Orleans, you know, any local cafe in your neighborhood that they might like. Or even, you know, get a milk frother, or get them, like, if they like to grind their own beans, get them raw coffee beans. You can get that at I know at Starbucks you can get that. I've gotten them from my husband, and he would grind his own. Or, like, you could make a thing out of it. And, like, another one that I have in my house, so many of my cozy mysteries I read at the library. I don't own a ton of them. But this one is A Knitting Mystery by Maggie Sefton, and Knit 1, Kill 2. And maybe if you know your friend is a knitter, or maybe they would like to learn how to knit. These are ones that would be less. It was just I had it in the house, and I was like, it's not a terrible idea. But, you know, maybe get them a how-to knitting book and some yarn and some knitting needles. But I would really like the food ones. The food ones, there are so many. And there's so many that you could make, like, a set, like a gift set out of. I jotted some down. So I already mentioned Cleo Coyle's Coffee House Mysteries. Tara Lush has the Coffee Lovers Mystery Series. Same deal. Leslie Budwitz has a spice shop mystery series. You know, get them different spices. Go to World Market, go to Whole Foods, go wherever. And maybe like if they're like if you know they like to cook, get them a collection of spices, you know, and zhuzh that up. Laura Childs has the tea shop mysteries. Get them some tea, some tea bags, tea accoutrement, loose leaf tea, a gift card to a tea shop, you know, those sorts of things. Linda Riley has the grilled cheese mysteries. Get them assortment of cheese. You know, like there's so many things. Or a gift card to a cheese shop. We have a cheese shop in New Orleans, but like Vivian Chen has the Noodle Shop mystery series, and it's Asian food themed. And, you know, get them, like, some stuff to make, like, a homemade ramen, or, you know, or there's so many, you know, a kit to make dumplings, or, you know, a series that I did really like this year, actually, I started reading it last year. There's only 2 out. Ellen Byron wrote it. It's called The Vintage Cookbook Mysteries, and her gimmick isn't so much is vintage cookbooks themselves. The main character finds vintage cookbooks that use book sales and everything that I mentioned and resells them in a gift shop that also sells like kitschy vintage kitchenware. And in the back of the book, they give actual recipes from actual vintage cookbooks. And so it was like, the first one was really good. The second one was a little less, but I really liked the first one. And I think if you like cozy mysteries, you will like it's a good one to recommend. But I really liked the first one. And go to, you know, one of these used bookstores or something and find like kitschy, like the amount of weird cookbooks that are out there that exist, like that are just fun. That would be fun on the coffee table. And they might not make that gelatin Christmas whatever, you know, that jiggles and you can see things in it. Like, they're probably never going to make that, but that might be really fun to put on the coffee table at Christmas, you know, or, you know, just different fun things like that, or old vintage cookware, you know, make that into a little thing. Oh yeah, there's, a mystery series, I can't remember the name of the first book at the moment, but it's Cocktail and Catering series, is what it's called, and, I'll list the information below, but, they have cocktail recipes in the back of the book. And I super loved the first one. The second one was okay. The first one was so good. I thought it was almost like a legit mystery novel, not just cozy. But they do a lot of cocktails and bitters. And so you can make like a gift basket out of that. Maybe get like a cocktail shaker and a strainer or some dried orange peel, like just like accoutrement, bottles of bitters and different things. And so it's like you can expand upon just the book. A fun thing, I actually had to stop and start again because I ran out of space, but one of the things I remembered while in that process is book sleeves. So I have a couple from Bookbo who I really like. They're the only ones I have experience with. I know there are other book sleeve places on Etsy, but these are designs, I'm not sure these specific designs are still being made. I got these a year or so ago. But this is their mini size. I'll correct it if I got it wrong, but this is their mini size, and this is good for mass markets. I think I could actually fit 2 mass markets in here if I wanted to. Yeah, I can fit 2 mass markets comfortably, like 2 cozy mystery romance novel size mass markets. And what's great about what I like about the book sleeves in general, or about Bookbo, like, so they protect your book. You throw it in your backpack, a tote bag, whatever you're tossing it in your car, all the other stuff you're getting in your car with, it protects it from getting bent and all the rest of it. Bookbos, this is a little bit bigger than what you would think for a mass market. It's because they've added padding, and so you have to add the extra space for the padding, and so it kind of protects your corners. And theirs are also waterproof, and they zip. So if you were to spill water on this, like if I throw it in my tote bag and accidentally a water bottle spills on top, your books are safe. They're not going to... I had a book that I got a friend of mine that I did not deliver for months, and I kept it in one of my book bows in my car. It would have been dinged up if I didn't. I mean, I wouldn't have probably kept it in my car if it wasn't in one, but I kept it in my book bow for months, and it was beautiful when I took it out. So I have, this is a mini, this is a pattern for the Blade Runner movie, which I don't actually like the movie. The second one I quite like, but I really liked the design. And then this, I think, is the indie size, and it holds more comfortably like hardback books. This will hold like a small hardback, like a not that many pages. This will hold more your standard hardbacks. Let's see. Like, I zipped it. Yeah, you have that much space at the top, so it'll hold. I think putting like Goblet of Fire or Order of the Phoenix might be pushing it a bit. They have a smaller size called the Bebe for like a certain kind of model of Kindle. I think it's Kindle. And then they have the mini, the indie. I have the two kind of standard smaller sizes. And then they also have like two bigger sizes for your jumbo. And I think the biggest size will hold a laptop. But also like your big, hefty books. But I really like these in the time that I've had them. I mean, I haven't used them and abused them. I haven't poured water on it to try. But I mean, I can tell the kind of fabric it is. It's not, I don't know, water here. It's, like, yeah, it bubbles up. Like, it's not sinking in there. So your books are, and then because they have the zip top, a lot of the ones on Etsy I've seen are just open. They're open on the top or just have like a little button strap. And I'm like, what does that do me? So I really like these. And it might be a little late for Christmas, but I think these are great gifts to give a book person who reads a lot of physical books. If they're just solely reading off their iPad, maybe not. But if they read physical books a lot, I think these are great gifts in general. And I also remembered in my pause was there are a lot of bookish themed puzzles out there lately. I like puzzles a lot. And my husband and I, we just got, we haven't done it yet, but the World of Dracula puzzle, and the art's all like scenes from the movie, or scenes from the book. I know they have a Frankenstein one. I think they have like a World of Shakespeare one. I haven't done them, but they have murder mystery ones where like there's a case and you're literally solving the case by solving the puzzle. And I guess it isn't so much like a book, but it's like a book because you're reading a mystery and you're solving a mystery. But I've seen in general, like Jane Austen, I have one, I'm not sure if it's still being made because I got it last year, but it was like a Virginia Woolf one, and it's like a panoramic puzzle, and I've never even actually read Virginia, I think it was Virginia Woolf, but I've never actually even read Virginia Woolf, but I loved the puzzle, and I think there's one in the same vein of Sherlock Holmes, and it's like the drawings of London, and so like you can get someone, like, oh, I know they love this, but I don't know what else they would want, that like a book that would be like that I don't, maybe they already have it, I don't know. There are bookish themed things you can get that like, oh, I know they love Dracula, but I don't know if they would love this vampire thing, but maybe get them a puzzle, get them a t-shirt, give them a bookmark, you know. And in that same vein, Etsy is such a great source for like fandom related things. People who love A Court of Thorns and Roses, Ninth Wing, is that what it's called? People love their fandoms. People love showcasing their fandoms. And Etsy, people make t-shirts. People make enamel pins. And the pin collectors out there. People make bookmarks. People make those pretty like cups, like those thermoses that people are like make. People make fandom cups. There are so many things you can get off of Etsy that you can make work for Harry, like that people make to sell that will fit like almost every fandom. Anytime I think of like, oh, I wonder if this exists on Etsy, it exists on Etsy. So I mean, if somebody likes something and it's generally decently popular, it will be there. And I mean, and you can always just, maybe they don't have your specific book, but maybe they'll have romance novel pins or sci-fi novel pins. You can still make it fit in maybe your friend's, your loved one's genre of choice. Outofprint.com is a great resource for t-shirts that are, it's more of like a company. Yeah. So those are my gift recommendations. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, even though I know it's just over, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Winter Solstice, Happy gift-giving season.